Hello everyone, welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more exciting true crime content. Today we look at a Russian man caught with £500,000 who led detectives to a huge cannabis haul, linked to a murky underworld figure known only as Prince Charles. Police stopped Evgeny Zilkin driving through Huyton in a black Audi with the cash hidden inside a suitcase and a secret compartment. DNA on the suitcase in turn led them to the home of Brian Coogan, who was storing more than £1 million of cannabis imported from Spain. Liverpool Crown Court today heard that Zilkin was carrying a mobile phone featuring the encrypted messaging app Telegram. Owen Edwards, prosecuting, said that messages showed that he had been acting as a courier in Liverpool and instructed by a handler who calls himself Prince Charles. There is no suggestion that the Prince of Wales is in any way connected to these events. The court heard the extraordinary drug plot unravelled after police spotted the Audi on March 15th this year. It stood out in COVID time. Police followed the car, which accelerated away from Malta Close. Mr. Zilkin, 33, pulled over but kept reaching into his pocket and was asked for his ID. He produced a Russian Federation passport which showed he entered the UK on January the 31st on a tourist visa. Mr. Zilkin said, "Please don't take my money, I'm buying a house, there is £500,000. The suitcase contained £450,000 and inside a secret hydraulic hide open with a key fob was a further £50,000. Mr. Zilkin later told police that he picked the cash up on behalf of a friend who was buying a house and denied knowing it was drug money. Detectives discovered he had travelled to Liverpool the day before and stayed over at the Picture House Apartments, then travelled to Huyton around 10 AM. On the suitcase was found the DNA of Mr. Zilkin and 50-year-old Mr. Coogan. He said messages showed a similar pattern in the past, that the word token was used to refer to cash deliveries, and that Mr. Zilkin was aware of the amounts of money involved. Police arrested Mr. Coogan when they raided his home in Huyton on June 29th. The prosecutor said that from his kitchen and living room, cardboard boxes containing large quantities of blocks or slates of cannabis resin were recovered. There was 83 kilograms of cannabis resin with a street value between £830,000 and £1,245,000. A further £386,000 was found inside a suitcase before Mr. Coogan gave a no-comment interview. Mr. Zilkin, of no fixed address, who has no previous convictions, admitted 2 counts of possessing criminal property. Mr. Coogan, who has 12 previous convictions for 23 offences, admitted 2 counts of possessing criminal property and 2 counts of possessing cannabis with intent to supply. He was jailed for 12 months for possessing cannabis with intent to supply in 2008, after he was caught with just under a kilo of the drug in the car. Matthew Buckland, defending Mr. Coogan, said that he was an old man and old enough to know far better than to involve himself in this type of thing. He said, at that level, hundreds of thousands of pounds, there can only be serious crime underpinning what has taken place. The lawyer also conceded that Mr. Coogan, who has recently been diagnosed with COPD, was a willing participant and not a victim. However, he said he's an unsophisticated, useful pawn for others. John Horgan, defending Mr. Zilkin, said that he was a courier. It wasn't his Audi or his fancy phone, and he was told where to go and what to do by others. He argued that this meant Mr. Zilkin's culpability shouldn't be classed as high in sentencing guidelines, adding, if for example the court had Prince Charles on the dock, as his name was in the case. Judge David Swinnerton interjected, Prince Charles in inverted commas, we should say. Mr. Horgan said, Prince Charles in inverted commas, then in my respectful submission that would be the high culpability category. He said remorseful Mr. Zilkin, who had been foolish, was the primary carer for his mum, wife and daughter in Moscow. Judge Swinnerton said a reference referred to Mr. Zilkin being the sole carer for his elderly mother. The judge said that this point would be stronger if he hadn't been in England acting criminally for the past 3 months. Mr. Horgan said that Mr. Zilkin had spent 6 months in custody, adding, he tells me, and it won't surprise the court, he's the only person in Alt Course who speaks Russian. Judge Swinnerton told the pair, both of you have become involved in playing your roles with an organised crime gang. That group plainly has links to Spain. There are messages linking them and indeed you, Mr. Zilkin, to Spain. And the cannabis resin, the 83 kilograms, appears to have come from, or at least through, Spain. The judge added that this was a well-organised crime group moving substantial amounts of cannabis. He jailed Mr. Zilkin, who he said appeared to have been a courier for a couple of months, for 3 years and 4 months. Judge Swinnerton added it was cannabis dealing on a very, very large scale, and jailed Coogan for 5 years. What do you think about Mr. Zilkin's story? And how would you feel being locked up and being the only person that speaks your language?
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and a share, and leave any thoughts or suggestions you have in the comments section. We love to read through them all. And if you're new but enjoy UK true crime content, then subscribe to see when our newest video releases. And as always, stay safe.